Handshakes is the most important and most common body language. It is a very powerful body language that shows powerful signals, very important signals actually. Few different kind of handshakes are there, and these different kind of handshakes indicate different messages. Let's just mention few kind of handshakes which shows or which try to communicate a different kind of emotion. We have mentioned four different kinds of handshakes out here. The first one is a warm handshake, a comfortable handshake with a light grip, not exactly a very tight grip, but a light grip that maximizes the surface of palm and finger contact with the other person. And it is quite prolonged. It is being maintained for a longer time, and usually it is accompanied by an eye contact. So, this is known as a warm handshake. Uh, well, warm handshake is, you can say, it can be utilized in a professional or in a personal meetings as well. The next one is the unknown handshake, a short duration handshake with a stranger, with somebody that you're meeting for the first time, or a one time chance acquaintance, has no emotional content. The grip indicates lack of interest, and there is no more than a cursory eye contact or a short lived, smile accompanying this kind of handshake. So it shows that you are not very much interested in knowing this person. It's just a normal hi or bye, or it's just a very casual kind of a meeting that does not interest you a lot. Adversary, well, it indicates something very unusual, perhaps a tight grip and short duration. It can be a jerky handshake that signals that these two people do not exactly trust each other. There is at best a cold smile during this process, a sarcastic look that they exchange. That yes, watch out. Such kind of handshake perhaps can be exchanged during our cricket matches while the two captains are meeting. Well, it is a professional handshake. People are wishing each other good luck, but at the same time, there is a kind of healthy competition that is being indicated, and you're kind of telling your opponent that watch out for our moves or watch out for our performance. So, it is kind of a very competitive signal. A variant of this type of handshake is the power handshake, and here one party or both want to send a strong signal to the other that they are superior and more powerful. This can be experienced in a professional scenario as well, where people are trying to prove each other that I am superior to you. Well, and the most common, the last handshake, the formal one. This is seen in professional settings when colleagues from the same company or professions they meet. The moderateness of grip and finger position indicate a trusting and professional relationship, yet one that does not get personal. We have warm handshakes. There, it can be called as or it can be utilized in a personal meeting, wherein the formal handshakes are generally very professional, and it has to be used only in a professional scenario. It can be used in personal scenario also, but then the formal handshake cannot be very much in a manner that will quite make somebody feel offensive. The grip cannot be too tight, or it cannot be a prolonged handshake. People have tendency sometimes to not leave the hand of the person they meet, and this can be very disrespectful and can be very offensive, especially if there is a female colleague or if you're meeting with a female client. Make sure that you watch out for these kind of signals, because it may indicate something wrong. It may have a wrong impression on the person. So be very cautious while shaking hands. Please keep it professional in a professional scenario. Only if you have close friends, casual relationships, casual friendships, you can use a certain warm or any kind of handshake that you prefer in a personal life. But in a formal situation or in professional life, try to keep it as simple and as professional as possible. So it should be a firm handshake, but it should be short lived. So handshakes we feel are not has that much importance, but they are quite important in any kind of communication, in any kind of body language or non-verbal communication. That is why pay attention while shaking hands with anybody henceforth. Well, as mentioned earlier, we will be discussing the facial expressions in detail. The first facial expression that we have is eye contact. Well, eyes, they have a very, very powerful factor, a powerful reflection of one's inner self, that is called as eyes. Eyes are possibly the most powerful as part of body language. It is powerful because it sends out the first and most important signal about one's inner self. They say that an eye or eyes talk a lot, and many people have a different kind of eyes. Some people's eyes are very expressive. For example, some artists like dance performers, they express a lot with their eyes. They talk a lot with their body movements, with their eyes, especially. So, eye contact is a very important factor in any kind of nonverbal communication. Body language signaled through the eye is critical in professional situations. During presentations to the audience, a poor speaker is often fixated on one person. This you will experience, or a small cluster of people. He does not have the confidence to make an eye contact with each and every person present in the room, and he tries to maintain his gaze only on a particular person instead of making an eye contact with everyone. He doesn't vary his eye contact through this entire distance of the room, basically from left to right. And contradictory situation, like in contrast, a good speaker does exactly the reverse and gets attention from the audience at large. So they always say, while giving a presentation to a large audience, make sure that you make an eye contact with each and every person present in the room, so that your eyes are like traveling right from the left towards the right, and you are noticing and making an eye contact with each and every person in the room. During interviews, for example, maintaining eye contact with the interviewer is very much important, and lack of eye contact during interviews, it indicates lack of self-confidence. Similarly, maintaining proper eye contact is also very important during performance discussion session between a supervisor and his subordinate. So if you are having an appraisal discussion which is going on, it is very much important to maintain that kind of eye contact. Amongst colleagues and friends as well, a pleasant eye contact is indicative of trust, while a frown indicates lack of it. Frown is again shrinking of your eyebrows. It shows that you are not having a friendly attitude towards somebody. So as discussed earlier, try to avoid it in a professional scenario with people if you want to maintain a good relationship. The eyes are like windows to the soul. Eyes speak a lot. It tells you a lot about a person, what is going on in a person's mind. So always try to maintain an eye contact and try to look into a person's eyes while talking or while communicating. They say that we tend to keep eye contact around 60 to 70% of the time. In general, as per the study, we do maintain it like to 60 to 70% of time. But in a professional scenario, particularly, we tend to look here and there. We tend to get busy in our work. We tend to lose concentration, lose focus, and tend to, the wandering eyes, as we discussed earlier in a previous scenarios. It might happen, but try to avoid it as much as possible to make sure that you send right signals with the communicator. And yes, there are a lot of cultural differences when we talk about eye contacts also, wherein people think that looking into someone's eyes for a very long time is not appropriate, and it is not welcomed in some cultures. It is considered as offensive. In Gulf countries, especially, if you have a prolonged stare or a prolonged gaze towards someone, it indicates a wrong signal. So, watch out for all these cultural differences while communicating with people, and try to maintain a professional eye contact. And on a personal level, try to maintain a friendly eye contact to make sure that you are not hurting anybody's feeling by ignoring them.